A very warm welcome to all the participants for this exclusive session on using artificial intelligence for improved productivity. On behalf of Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we welcome you all for this session, organized under the aegis of Industry Institute Interface and Edutech Expert Committee. I am Rupa, Secretary at BCIC. I welcome here Dr. Devarajan, who is our President for the current year and who is also the Senior Vice President at TVS Motor Company. Welcome, Dr. Devarajan, sir.
Thank you.
The leaders of the 3I and Edutech Expert Committee, Dr. N.R. Parshuraman, Director Emeritus at Shri Dharmasthala Manjunatheshwara Institute of Management Development, SDMIMD at Mysore, co-chaired Mr. Ravindra Sa, Chief Engineer, Tata Technologies, and mentor Dr. K.N. Subramania, Principal, RB College of Engineering. The Chamber acknowledges the support of Professor Mohamed Minhaj, who is the speaker for today's session, and he is also the Professor of Systems and Business Analytics at SDMIMD, Mysore. Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation to address at this session. The Chamber acknowledges the support of our annual sponsors, Messrs. Bueller, Continental, Fundamax, IAMPL, MTR Foods, SDMIMD, Sona Group of Companies, TVS Motor, Vishwas Group, and Wipro for their continuous support for all the activities for the year. Now I would request Dr. Devarajan to set the context, sir. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks very much for attending this seminar. I know it's an important time in all our areas of competence. Now India is growing in a big way, as you have seen, both in the aerospace industry, manufacturing industry, and GDP growing in terms of to be the top 5. The most important thing is being competitive today. So to be competitive, it also drives a lot of importance towards productivity. Productivity in all the areas, in terms of the business processes, in terms of the manufacturing processes, in terms of the selling processes, and in terms of the human relationship processes. I think it encompasses every area on the competence development. And today, everyone talks about AI, ML, how to have the data from the previous areas, work, learning experience from the previous areas, continuous learning, continuous improvement is the order of the day, whether it's in the cost working or productivity in the shop floor or HR areas. And I think this is this is the first seminar of the 3I interface. I really look forward for an excellent discussion. It will be very, very useful for all of us in terms of our own areas, in terms of our own growth. I think please take this as a very important learning experience in us. And they always go into AI and ML too, and talk of machine learning itself, AI, artificial intelligence from the previous areas. Today, talk about chat GPT in many areas. Things are happening very, very fast paced. Can we embrace it? Can we take as a productivity improvement? Can we use all these tools to improve our own competitiveness? This is the area in which I think all the industries are growing. We look forward for an excellent discussion, and thanks very much for Mohamed for giving us an opportunity to share his views. Really thank Dr. Parshuraman, Dr. Ravindra Sa, and all the members joining. Many of your members are joining in. If you find that this is useful, there are many seminars happening in Bangalore Chamber of Commerce. We did something like 250 seminars and web series last year. And if we like them to become members of BCIC also, it is very easy. It can be emailed to rupa@bcic.co.in. So we look forward for an excellent discussion, and you can put your points on the web chat so that we can take your points also. And looking forward for an excellent discussion. Thank you very much for organizing this, and look forward for an excellent seminar following through. Thank you and all the best. Over to you, Mohamed San, or Dr. Parshuraman San for further input.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I just would like to, you already said the context beautifully, Dr. Devarajan. I just wanted to Let's just add a couple of sentences about Professor Minhaj, because in recent times, over the last 5-6 years, his entire research and teaching has been concentrated on business analytics. And as a part of his study on business analytics, he has been teaching abroad as well with the Business Analytics Institute in France. And very recently, in their summer school, when they had a session up in France, his models came in for very high appreciation because of their novelty. So we have an excellent guest here today, and I'm sure that we all will benefit from the discussion over the next 1 hour or so. Over to you, Minhaj.
Thank you very much, NRP sir. And I would also like to thank BCIC for giving me this opportunity to interact with all of you and share some insights about the research that I've done about AI. First of all, I hope my audio and video is fine.
Sure. It is fine.
Okay. I'd like to just share my presentation first. Yeah. Because there will be several applications that I'll be demonstrating. So I'm just sharing my entire screen. So if one of you could please confirm if my presentation, which reads AI for increased productivity, is visible on your screen, please.
Yeah, visible. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, sir. All right. Let me just set the context for this specific presentation, the specific talk. I'm sure artificial intelligence is not new to any of us today. Artificial intelligence or AI, we have been talking about it for decades, right? But until recently, for many of us, the common man, AI was referring to these things, right? Probably, I hope you'll agree with me that it was more of work of fiction, probably novels, movies, right? That is what AI meant to many of us, right? But today, things have changed. Alexa, Siri have become household names, right? And we have also seen a lot of things in the recent times which we could have not even imagined. For example, when you look at this person, which I guess many of you know, I'm referring to a humanoid called Sophia. What is new is not about another robot which looks like a human, which acts like a human, or what we call it as humanoid. But what is new is the first humanoid to get citizenship of a country, right? Which has happened in the recent years. Likewise, we have been hearing, reading, and seeing a lot of unusual things in the recent times, right? A humanoid getting citizenship is just one example. Further, there was a news about one US woman marrying the chatbot that she created using AI. Of course, the images, what you see is a virtual image, right? It's more of an imaginary thing that she has created, but chatbot, which was created using a popular platform, AI platform called Replica, you can create humans and they can interact with others. So this lady, right, claimed that she cannot find any other better person than Evan Cartel. The name of this virtual person is called Evan Cartel, right? And she announced that she has married this person, right? So that's the other unusual thing that we get to see. But from this lighter, or I would say more of casual things, we have also seen something very serious, right? A book completely written by AI, right? Or use of chatbots. Of course, when I said chatbots for regular chatting, it's not new, right? Most of us, for that matter, when we chat with any website or mobile app, we know that somebody who's on the other side is a machine and not a human being. That's not new. But what is the new dimension that has been added to it in the recent times is generative AI-based conversational order-taking system, right? Which sounds like a human, which interacts like a human, which customers will not be in a position to really differentiate whether it's a human or a machine, which has been deployed by leading retail and consumer players like Domino's, IKEA, etc. recently. Does not stop there. There was a world sensation where Hell Energy, a company, announced that AI developed and tasted its own energy drink. And when I say tasted, of course, it's more about analyzing with help of data and then trying to give specific inputs as to how it can be improved. And in this case, these inputs were given back to AI system, and with the constant exploration, it came up finally with the product. And then, they announced to the world that this new product that they're launching is completely developed by AI without human intervention, right? So these are some of the things that we get to see. As I told you, I'm just setting the context. So while we talk about these things, which are, probably talking about the power of AI, I think we have also been hearing about the pitfalls. We have also been talking about probably some ethical issues. We have been talking about biases in AI, right? Again, just a sample to set the context. It was reported that a AI machine could teach itself Bengali language, which was not by design, which was not the objective, right? It was not actually intended, right? It just happened that with the way it started interacting with humans, right? And with the kind of data that it was exposed to, it could pick up this language. So this is a matter of concern. We are talking about the black box approach that AI uses can, have a lot of potential threats. This is just one of them. Likewise, this news again got viral where a video by Ukraine's president, right? Talking about that it is submitting, it is, giving up the war and things like that surfaced on social media. It got viral, and very soon it was reported that it was AI generated video, right? So this again is a matter of concern as to how do we really differentiate between something which is real, something which is, something which is not accurate, something which is not real, something that has been just cooked up, something which has just been made up, right? So that's the other concern that the world is talking about today, right? Just one more point, which I'm sure many of you would have read. Some of the prominent business leaders of the world, including Elon Musk, called for slowdown on AI development. Looking at some of these issues, threats that I mentioned to you, there was a need felt for slowing down on the development of AI because the concern was that AI can enslave humans, right? So this also we have been hearing. And then, political leaders, including our Honorable Prime Minister, very recently raising concerns over algorithm bias of artificial intelligence, right? And called for an integrated approach for crypto, right? So the second dimension that I mentioned was, the first one was the power of AI, and then the pitfalls, right? With this, what I basically wanted to tell you about this talk is that we are not going to talk about probably the governance issues of AI, right? The ethical issues of AI. Of course, AI has to be used responsibly, right? It has to be used ethically, but in the limited time that we have today, right, our discussion is not going to be about that. Instead, the discussion today would be more on looking at some of the amazing tools and techniques that are available today, AI-based tools and techniques available today, and how can we leverage those tools and techniques for enhance office productivity at our individual level. Of course, when it comes to organization levels, there are a lot of other aspects that business leaders have to look at, probably the ethical dimensions, right? Probably in terms of the governance, in terms of the risk involved, etc. But all said and done, today, the tools and techniques that are available today have demonstrated some amazing results. So can we as individuals in our offices leverage on some of these tools and techniques to enhance office productivity is what we are going to discuss in the next 40-45 minutes that we have. And the approach that we are going to take to understand this would be what, why, and how approach, right? We look at what are those tools, right? Why we should use those tools. And of course, wherever possible, also look at how do we use those tools, right? I'll try my best to demonstrate some of these things, right? But in the interest of time, I finally just mentioned some more tools which some of you may already know, but people who are not aware of it, they can go and explore themselves, right? But before we embark on those tools and understand how it can improve our productivity, right? I would like to just give a brief conceptual background before we embark on those tools to help us understand the use of those tools better. We are talking about artificial intelligence, and this term, although has become very popular in the recent times, right? It has been researched, right, for several decades, and the term came into existence way back in 1956 and was coined by John McCarthy. And several developments have taken place, which has been beautifully summarized in one of the Harvard article, which talks about the different developments that have happened, right? I'm not getting into the details, but any of you are interested, you can definitely refer to this Harvard article. But the important point here is we are talking about intelligence. So I think we need to first look at the connotation of intelligence for us to understand how we can bring in intelligence into machines and how we can do that intelligent task, right? So intelligence, of course, there are several definitions available, right? But one of the established definition I've just presented on your screens, just again to get that background, right? It's a very general mental capability that, among other things, involves ability to reason, plan, solve problems, think abstractly, comprehend complex ideas, learn quickly, and learn from experience, right? It does not refer merely to book learning, right, or a narrow academic skill, right? It reflects a broader and deeper capability of comprehending our surroundings, right? Making sense of things, figuring out what to do, etc., right? So this is one of the established definition of intelligence. And when we talk about intelligence in machines, right, we understand, right, that all humans are intelligent. Of course, the degree of intelligence varies, right? And there are ways through which we measure intelligence, right? Human intelligence. One such method is IQ, right? But we are now talking about intelligence in machines, right? So the question is, are machines intelligent, right? If they are already intelligent, why are we talking about now, right? So what exactly is machine intelligence, right? So to just get the simplistic idea of intelligence, right, I would like to quote Stephen Hawking, right? According to him, intelligence is ability to adapt to change. So me and you as humans, we adapt to change, and that is, intelligence. But when I say machines are intelligent, right, do they have this capability to adapt? Do they have this ability to change, right? Can they learn from their experience, right? And I hope you'll agree with me that with automation, with machines, we have been getting work done which hundreds and thousands of people cannot do at a time. And we can look at accuracy which humans cannot imagine. But if we again come back to the fundamental question, are these machines, right, which is doing thousands of people's work today, right, really intelligent, right? The answer in the light of scholarly literature again is no, right? Machines have been programmed, machines have been instructed to do something that it can do beautifully, right? That it can do very effectively, very efficiently. But can it change, right? Can it change its course of action, right? Can it adapt without human intervention? The answer is no, right? So that is why the conventional automation, right? The automation that we have seen for so many decades, the limitation was it cannot adapt. So that way we can say, going by our definition, they're not intelligent. They can do a lot of things, right? But they are not really intelligent, right? So then the industry, did a lot of research on this. They came up with a lot of developments, right? And so initially, AI, artificial intelligence, when we talked about machines possessing intelligence, that is ability to adapt, right? It all came in the form of some sort of machines, right? Which can play games, which can solve some, problems, etc. So they were the early proof of concepts. And some of the prominent names, right, that took center stage, that got into limelight, right, is a machine, something like Deep Blue, which was a chess playing computer developed by IBM. It was the first computer to win a chess game against one of the world chess champion, right? Likewise, the world was fascinated when IBM Watson participated in one of the quiz shows, US quiz show, right? And could defeat some of the intellectuals there, right? So this is where the world started looking at AI to solve business problems, to probably, look at ways of identifying business opportunities and solve the business problems that we have. Right? There's one more aspect, right? Before we look into the tools that we need to have some clarity, that's about machine learning. Because a lot of people use AI and ML synonymously. AI and ML, right? They use it interchangeably, right? But I would like to, again, in the light of some scholarly and academic, and scholarly literature, would like to just clarify that machine learning is just a subset of AI that provides computer systems with ability to learn without being explicitly programmed, right? So this is what I talked about, the automation, now getting automated. That is, we are talking about automation of automation, programs, right, which can adapt without being explicitly programmed, right? That is just one subset of AI, right? So it focuses on development of programs that can change, right? How do they change? How do they learn? By new data that they get exposed to, right? So in other terms, we can simply say ML is automation of automation, right? And when we talk about ML, we again talk about different types of ML. And as I mentioned, this is not a conceptual session, but I'm just trying to touch upon the important aspects so that we are in a position to utilize these tools in a better way, right? Having some clarity on it. So when we talk about types of machine learning, there are many, right? So you have like supervised, unsupervised, reinforcement learning. All these are different ways of making the machine learn, right? Then what is the connection between ML and AI, right? I said ML is a subset, fine, but my take is AI is a capability that we want in the machines. I repeat, AI is a capability that we want in the machines. And probably ML, machine learning, is a way of facilitating that. Machine learning facilitates AI. Machine learning enables AI. If you want a machine to become intelligent, right, you need to bring in some learning capabilities, right? You bring in data, you bring in algorithms, and when it starts learning from data, it becomes intelligent, right? So that's about ML. Another aspect that we need to keep in mind when we talk about AI is AI basically is, it has three levels, right? Which we call it as weak, general, and super AI, right? So what exactly is weak AI, right? Weak, which is also called as narrow AI. It is the most common of the three, right? But it basically stems from the fact that these are intelligent systems, right? But developed to do a specific task. For example, I develop a machine, right? Or develop a vehicle, right? Which is a two-wheeler, right? So it's a two-wheeler. So it can do, what a regular two-wheeler machine can do, or it's a packaging machine, which, what a lot of humans do together, it can do on its own, right? But can that machine be used for something else? The answer is no, right? It's narrow. It is for a specific task, right? It's either for packaging, or as I tell you, it is for probably some specific task. So that's narrow AI, right? So at best, we can call it as an intelligence specialist, right? So narrow intelligence is just an intelligence specialist. The next level is strong AI, right? So strong AI, it is also referred as artificial general intelligence. This is what exhibits human level intelligence, right? And some of the recent developments that we have seen comes under this category, right? We are talking about machines having cognitive abilities of human. Something that me and you can do, the machine is able to do today, right? So it's not about just doing one job, right? It has this transfer learning mechanism through which once you train it to drive a bike, right, it may also adapt and learn to drive a car, right? So such kind of intelligence, right, is what we call it as artificial general intelligence, right? But the most superior one happens to be super AI, right? And this is what we normally get to see in fictional novels and movies, right? So this is a term used to denote an AI that exceeds human intelligence, right? In fact, Nick defines super AI as any intellect that greatly exceeds cognitive performance of human in virtually all domains of interest, right? This is a far off theory of AI, and probably that would be the end of AI once we, come up with super AI, right? While developments are being made to improvise general artificial intelligence, right? But there is a school of thought which talks about, development of super artificial intelligence, right, is going to enslave humans, right? And that is why many of the global leaders are, talking about slowing down on the development of artificial intelligence, right? So this is about the conceptual background, right? So before I proceed, let me quickly connect the dots, put things together, and then proceed further. As I told you, this talk is going to be all about making use of AI tools and techniques to improve productivity, right? We may not be talking about, as I told you, governance, ethical issues, etc. But having said that, each one of us is responsible to make use of these tools and techniques, right, with a lot of responsibility and use it ethically. Because, we have been talking about copyright issues, we have been talking about the other risk involved, the biases involved, etc. So that's the disclaimer that I wanted to mention, that these tools that we are going to discuss now, right, they have to be used with a lot of responsibility, right, and they have to be used ethically, right? So among all the tools, of course, the game changer has been this, which I'm sure all of you recognize what I'm referring to. I'm referring to ChatGPT, right? The whole world is talking about today. Everybody is talking about it, right? And in fact, there are people who are trying to leverage on the popularity of ChatGPT, right? Wanted to just share this on a lighter note. You can notice, somebody calling their tea stall as ChatGPT, which they call it as genuinely pure tea, enhanced with adrak and ilaichi, right? So on a serious note, when you really look at, ChatGPT, right? It's phenomenal because when you look at some of the other technologies, digital technologies, and look at, its subscribers, look at its users, right? The data is available here from Statista, right? You talk about Netflix, it took 3.5 years to get 1 million users, right? And look at ChatGPT, right? It reached 1 million users. I'm sorry, it reached 1 million users in just 5 days, right? So, which is really amazing. So what can we do with that, right? We said we are going to look at it practically, right? There'll be some hands-on, so let's get into it, right? What can we do with that, right? I mean, today people think we can do everything with ChatGPT, right? Which of course, people who have spent more time on it don't agree. They say that, okay, ChatGPT is powerful. It has its strengths, but it also has its weaknesses. Unless we understand what it is good at, right? And use it for the right purpose, we may be, spending a lot of our time and efforts without being really productive, right? So this is just an endeavor to present few specific techniques, right? Few specific tools that we can use, right? To improve our productivity. Of course, it's not just going to be ChatGPT. There'll be some other tools, right? And as I told you, even with ChatGPT, we need to look at that there is a digital ecosystem, right? We need to understand the digital ecosystem. It's not about typing something in ChatGPT and just getting something out of ChatGPT. Getting something out of ChatGPT and integrating with some of our other applications can make a big difference, right? So a sample of it we'll try and actually discuss. So we are first talking about the content, right? Creating of content is one part that, ChatGPT is doing really good. And, that is why today we talk about probably the marketing companies, the media houses and other things talking about how this tool has significantly impacted their industry, right? But before we really talk about content, right? If you really look at generally how ChatGPT is being used today, right? When I observe my own friends, my students and some of our other actually contacts, I see that they are trying to probably use it like a search engine, right? Is that right to really use it as a search engine? Is of course a debatable thing, but I want to touch upon a specific point, right? When you look at search engines like Google, right? And then compare it with ChatGPT, right? Do you think ChatGPT will do a better job than search engine, etc., which is a very, very debatable thing, right? But important thing is ChatGPT is not meant for that. What I mean by meant for that? It's not meant for information retrieval. Search engines were developed for information retrieval, right? ChatGPT is more of a generative AI, which is a conversational tool, right? So what is the difference? In one of our discussions, one of our professional discussions, right? One of the participants, right, mentioned about search engines as Hanumanji, right? He was just talking about, just like Hanumanji, when you ask for, some Jarubiti, right? He got the whole mountain. So search engine is actually doing that job, right? You search for something, you get a lot of actually data, but then you spend a lot of time, right? You spend a lot of time probably harvesting it, right? Harnessing it to make sense out of it, right? ChatGPT that way, in one sense, what it does is it takes care of harvesting. It goes to various sources, probably it will harness and present it to you as a platter, right? So that way it is fine. But can we still use ChatGPT, for example, to find out who is the CEO of a particular company, etc.? No, right? It may not be good at it. And ChatGPT developers themselves have given this disclaimer. It should not be used for that purpose. It should not be used for getting specific figures and facts, right? Then what do we do, right? Probably, as I told you, you talk about content creation, right? What kind of content creation? Probably when you're writing emails, right? When you're preparing some reports, etc., right? How can we make use of the vast knowledge available in the world, right? And how can we really build on that and get things done at a faster rate, in a more accurate way, etc., right? So we're going to talk about it. I'll also be showing that practically, but just one important aspect that I would like to focus here is ChatGPT also requires a particular approach for it to really give you the right results, right? For you to get the best output in a limited time, right? That is, you need to first set the context. What do you mean by context, right? You just ask ChatGPT to give some information about a particular topic. You talk about, for example, global warming. It can beautifully give that data to you, right? But is it really right? That is something that we need to verify. But the point here is, it has been openly mentioned by ChatGPT developers that it can sometimes make up, if not fake, it can make up a lot of data, right? We can see the demonstration in a while now, right? For example, let me start with that straight away. Yeah, again, just to be sure, you're able to see my ChatGPT screen. One of you could please confirm.
It's clear.
Yes, we can see. Sure. Okay, thank you. Yeah, as you know, there are several applications available which are built on ChatGPT, right? But we are going to the actual source. We are straight away going to the ChatGPT portal itself, right? So when I want some information about, for example, say I wanted to know about BCIC, right? Say I was interested in knowing about BCIC now that I'm interacting with you today. Say for my research, I wanted to do that. So let's see if this can give me the information. Can I say, okay, let me put it this way. Not that it will say that it does not have answers, right? But it can give you some answers, right? You can notice here. So you need to set the context, right? The first thing is what setting the context. If you say, you can now notice that it does give me the information, right? How much of it is correct is again debatable, right? But what I'm trying to say is we need to set the context. That means you ask for a recipe, it can give you the recipe, right? It's just like walking into a restaurant and asking for some dish. So they'll just come up with something, right? But then you are having some specific preferences. You're allergic to something, right? You have a particular type of taste. You need to spell out all these details. So that's precisely what happens with ChatGPT. The more, the better, right? You need to set the context very clearly, right? And that is why, right, this entire approach, what has now become popular as prompt engineering, right? We see that there are a lot of courses available on this, right? And so there is a lot of research happening on how do we optimize our prompts? How do we get the right prompts to get the right results, right? So this is one such approach which talks about first setting the context, then talking about the specific task that you want to perform and give more instructions, right? What you want. And wherever possible, also give examples and data, right? It can use the data and refine your results in a better way, right? Just to give an example, we may use this to probably develop text for email, some promotional email, right? So how do we set the context, right? You could say that you are an experienced email copywriter, right? Who writes for brands like Uber, right? I'm just giving some name to set the context. And then you say the task is write an email about the new product, right? That I'm launching, right? And then you give that specific details of that product. And then also gives instructions that, okay, this email has to connect well with a particular type of audience, right? Use language which is very formal or use language which is very informal. You give the specific examples, right? And then you also add some specific examples data, right? Then it can give you phenomenal results, right? Otherwise, what it is going to do is just pick up something, and as I told you, it can make up a lot of data and give it to you, which you need to really sit and verify, right? So this is the first point that I wanted to mention. that it needs to be approached in the right way. You need to set the context, then ask for a specific task, then give an instruction, and then give specific examples to it, right? So rest of the things would be demonstration. So I have few things to just demonstrate to you. Let me get into it. Okay, for some of you who may be new to this, right? Please note, this is a conversational chat box, right? So what it does is, it links to whatever that you are communicating. For example, when I just mentioned, I'm referring to Bangalore Chamber of Commerce, right? It understood that I'm connecting it with my previous prompt that I gave, right? So anytime you want to come up with a new requirement, right? Anytime you want to get some specific, new information, it's always a good idea to go for a new chat. Otherwise, it may be influenced by a previous chat. So if I now talk about, for example, global warming, without starting a new chat, it will try to connect global warming with Bangalore Chamber of Commerce and say, you know, the work that BCI has been doing towards global warming, etc. And that's not what I wanted. I just wanted some general information about, say, global warming, right? So I start a new chat, and then I, give my specific queries. And as I told you, we need to keep in mind setting the context, right? So what is the context? I wanted a essay on global warming, right, for a 10th standard boy, right? So that's the context that I need to set, right? And then I also talk about, okay, the specific instructions would be use a fairly simple language, right? Limited to this many number of words and things like that. I mean, we need to do that, right? In the interest of time, I'll not spend too much of time on this example because there are other things that I want to demonstrate. So let me get into this. I say, can you write a brief note on global warming? Of course, it's going to give me that. But I told you the instructions and how do you refine it, right? So we need to now, again, give specific instructions. And when giving specific instructions, there is one or two other practical issues that you may encounter. I would like to mention to you. The basic version of ChatGPT that me and you are using, the free version, right, has limitation on the number of words that it can take as input and that it can give as output. So sometimes when you're trying to give a large data to set that context, or when you're getting a large code out of ChatGPT, if it exceeds that limit, right, it just stops. So what you could do is you could simply use this word continue, right? So it will continue further. You notice here, continue, when I say it continues to the previous one, right? And it gives you more data now. Of course, in this case, it almost like had concluded, but for some reason, if it was, you notice that it was not a complete one, something was missing, probably because of the word limit, you simply type in continue, it will do that, right? And now how do I refine the results, right? I told you, we can, give specific instructions. I wanted something about global warming just as a song, right? So I can now say, let's say rewrite in less than 100 words and convert it song, for example. Yeah, you notice here, right? So this is about the content. As I told you, you wanted it in the form of a song, you wanted it in the form of probably a poem, right? You could actually change it this way, right? But what next, right? I trust many of you would have already done some of these things, just generating content, refining it, etc. Except for understanding probably the approach that we need to take, and also understanding some of these limitations, that word limit and things like that. But what are the other things that we can do? We have been talking about improving productivity, right? So how do we improve the productivity, right? Let me talk about something else, right? The tools that me and you use, irrespective of the rung that we are associated with, the rung at which we are working in any organization, right? All of us are dependent on office productivity tools like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. Can we improve our productivity with these tools with help of ChatGPT, right? Yes, we can, right? How do we do that? For example, let me start with Excel. Say I have some email addresses with me, right? I'm assuming that Excel sheet is visible. If not, you could please let me know. So say I have some data with me like this.
You could zoom it up a little bit.
Sure. I hope this is better. Yeah. So now. Something like this, right? So I have my database, which has email addresses. I wanted to pick up the first name from these email addresses, which I'm sure expert users of Excel understand how to do it. I would not even say expert users, probably even a moderate user understands how to do it, basic formulae that you need to write. But I'm using this simple example to demonstrate how you can leverage on ChatGPT, right? If you're able to do it yourself, fine. But if you understand the approach, you can use this for something more advanced also in Excel. This simple problem, in fact, you don't even require a formula. The recent version of Excel has flash fill, which can do this for you. But say for some reason, I wanted to write a formula and not fully aware. How do I extract only the first name, right, from these names, right? So what do we do? Can I make use of ChatGPT to do this? Yes, right? So what you need to do is probably you need to first set the context and articulate your requirement, right? Only then you can ask ChatGPT to give you that answer, right? So let me, to save time, I've already developed those prompts, right? I'll just show this to you now. So I get into ChatGPT. And as I told you, to ensure that it's not biased with what we're currently doing, I start a new chat, right? And I give this prompt. Write Excel function to extract the text before @ character in cell, okay, in my case it is cell A1, right, cell A1. You can notice here, you straight away have the Excel formula, right, which I can simply copy, right. Here it is. As simple as this, right? Does not just stop there. Let me give you another example. Say you had a list of participants, right? And the participants are coming from different companies, say this particular webinar. So BCIC would like to understand, the companies which participated. So they just wanted probably just the unique company names, right? So you have 4 or 5 people from the same company. So in my database, I have that. For example, I have Infosys. Another person comes from TVS. There is one more person from Wipro. I have all these things, right? So I wanted to now pick up unique names from this list, right? So how do I do it? If I can again understand how to set the context and how do I articulate my requirement, ChatGPT can do miracles, right? So what I've done is I've just written this chat. I've said, write an Excel formula to count the number of unique values in a list, right? I mean, yeah, so in this case, it is counting. I said we want to extract individual names. That also can be done, right? But in this case, I just wanted to know how many companies participated in this. So I just wanted the unique count. So how do I do that, right? I can get into ChatGPT, start a new chat, and I just do this. Write Excel formula to count the number of unique values in a list. I hope the problem is clear. We have the database of all the participants, and the database also has the name of the company they come from. I wanted to know, right, how many unique companies participated, right? So I just want this. So here it is, right? So you get this. So this way you can make use of ChatGPT to probably improve your Excel productivity, right? Let me talk about some other tools here, right? And when I said other tools, they may be like ChatGPT doing something, right? Something like generating images or generating videos, or they may be tools which can make use of ChatGPT results and give you some better output, right? I'll just give you one small example here. For example, I would like to now develop a flow chart, right, about the bank loan approval process, right? I do this. I simply say, okay, can ChatGPT do this for me? Is something that most of us may be concerned now because it just deals with text and now talking about a flow chart. So it may not be able to do it itself, but it can give you in a form, in a particular code, which other tools can easily convert it into flow charts, right? Let me repeat it. I can give my requirement. Now I say, right? I'll tell you what the code is called as. I'll say write code for generating flow chart of a loan approval process. So it cannot generate an image, but I'm saying write a code. But which code, right? For flow chart, we make use of a particular language. We talk about LaTeX. So I can say write LaTeX code for generating flow chart of a loan approval process. But wait, is this sufficiently talking about the context? No, right? Probably the loan approval process, there may be some unique things, being followed, unique framework being followed in particular country. So I wanted about Indian context. So what I can do now is I can refine it. I can say in the light of Indian banking system. So now notice it has developed this code. So I told you we need to really understand the digital ecosystem, right? There are different tools, right, which can communicate with ChatGPT and improve your results. I mean, we can't do everything in ChatGPT, right? So we have generated LaTeX code, but LaTeX code can be converted into a flowchart using several softwares. If you simply Google and say, how can I convert LaTeX code into flowcharts? You may get several tools, several websites. One such tool is this. So let me copy this code first. The tool is called Overleaf, right? Overleaf. And what I can do now is I say, okay, start a new project. And I say I want a loan process, a flow chart for that. You notice it has some default code, right? I'm now bringing my code there, which was generated by ChatGPT. And only thing I have to say is, okay, use this code, convert it into a flow chart. And here it is. You have a flow chart, right? Which you can refine if you want. I mean, by giving better context at ChatGPT itself. You don't even have to come and modify it over here, right? And it can do this for you, right? So this is what can be done, right? Okay, so let's go ahead. Talk about some more use cases, talk about some more examples, right? I talked about using ChatGPT to enhance our productivity in Excel. PowerPoint is another tool that most of us use very frequently, right? So in case we would like to use ChatGPT to do something, right? Let me talk about it. So I again have a simple prompt here, right? So you want the entire PowerPoint to be developed, right, by ChatGPT, right? So the output that it gives you is just a text, but we wanted a PowerPoint. So we need to again understand logically that, okay, if it can generate it in the form of a code, in some code, which can be used to convert it into PowerPoint, it can solve my job. That's precisely what we do, right? So for Word, Excel, PowerPoint, any kind of automation that you want to bring in, we make use of a language called VBA, right? So if I want a PowerPoint presentation now, say a ready PowerPoint presentation, I can simply now say, write VBA code to generate, write VBA code to create notice here, I'm just giving this prompt. I say, okay, create a VBA code to create Microsoft, write a VBA code to create Microsoft PowerPoint presentation about use of AI for improved productivity. And here it is. We have the code, right? So it's not a PowerPoint presentation as such, right? But it's a code which PowerPoint understands, right? So this can be copied, right? This can be copied. And then in PowerPoint, right? If you embed this, right, in a macro, it can do this job, right? And in the interest of time, I'm not getting into those steps, but for your information, those instructions also ChatGPT can give you now, right? If you can just type in, okay, how do I use this code to convert it into PowerPoint slide? It will give you concrete steps, which is easy, but as I told you, in the interest of time, I'm not getting into it. This can be done, right? So this is one thing, but again, we need to keep in mind that we need to set the context, give clear instructions. So it might just give you some, slides, but we want to make it very specific. So how do I do it, right? One such prompt is this. You can put in something like this. You can say, help me create a PowerPoint presentation script about improving productivity using AI. You use real facts and numbers where available. Implement storytelling tactics. Act like a critic and let me know what you think about this presentation, right? So if at all I give more data like this, which builds the better context, right? You'll get better actually results. Okay. Just talked about ChatGPT and output of ChatGPT being used in PowerPoint, in Excel, and the other tool which I showed you, right? But there are also a lot of other tools available in the market, right? Fortunately or unfortunately, what has happened is ChatGPT has become synonymous to AI for many people today. Whenever people talk about AI, they talk only about ChatGPT, but that's not true, right? There are equally amazing tools available today, right? Some of the limitations that you have in ChatGPT, right? You can probably get this the work done by other tools. For example, you wanted to generate some images, right? You have some creative work requirement, right? Let me just get into this. So the other day, probably while posting, like many people in our country, while posting on social media about the happiness of India's ambitious Chandrayaan-3 project, right? Probably I wanted to support this with the image. So I wanted an image which is something like, okay, man on moon. Holding Indian flag. Whenever we had this kind of requirements, right, there were teams in organizations, right, who were doing this creative work using Photoshop and things like that. But today, again, thanks to generative AI, right, you have tools, something like DALL-E, right, DALL-E 2. This is the tool that I'm using, DALL-E 2. Or it could be, there are so many other tools, something like Mid-Journey, etc., which can do this job for us. Let's try if this is going to work for us now. Yeah, you can notice here. So it can understand the text, it can understand our requirements and then convert it into images. Of course, with the limited information that I've given, this is what it can give the best, right? I mean, like they say, garbage in is garbage out. Unless you refine your requirements, you cannot expect amazing results. But if I now refine my requirements, I'm sure we'll be able to get better actually results, right? So you have something for images like this. There are also tools for creating videos, right? There are tools for only managing your emails, right? Probably some sort of automation with your Outlook, right? There are tools available, right, for project management, right? You can create, the different schedules, manage it, some alerting system. All these tools are available, right? So as I told you, in the interest of time, I just wanted to give a sample of it, right? Just want to end this presentation by summarizing on few points. As I told you, AI has become a buzzword today, but it has a rich history, right? Companies anyway have been using AI in whatever way possible in the past also, right? But to the common man, to an individual, right? Only in the recent times they got this exposure, right? So one of the important development is about generative AI, which can generate content, code, images, videos, right? And all this thing just requires some prompts from our side, some sort of text from our side. You need to spell out your requirements in the form of a text, right? And if you follow the right approach, follow the right techniques, it can make a big difference. Like you saw in this limited demonstration that I gave, right? You can use ChatGPT for coming up with some advanced formulae, right? Which otherwise you may spend a lot of time doing it in Excel. You want to do some analysis, right? You can do that, right? I missed on one more point. Let me just do that and close my presentation. You notice the ChatGPT, the default version that me and you are using, right? It very clearly says that it is not good at numbers, right? But today, the whole world is talking about analytics, right? So there is a requirement for some sort of number crunching, for business storytelling, for visualization and things like that, right? That was not the capability of the earlier versions of ChatGPT, right? But the new version, right, which is going to be launched soon, right, and available currently in the form of its beta, right? You have even analysis options, right? You can analyze data. You could so far just create functions. You could so far just create some sort of formulae, but this advancement will also help you to analyze data, visualize data. Even that is actually possible, right? But of course, they have currently announced that it will be available only for the plus users, the paid users, but you never know. I mean, they may change in the future, right? And if companies see a value in it, I'm sure they will really subscribe to these things, right? So with this, I would like to stop. I'd like to once again thank BCIC NRP sir for providing me this opportunity to interact and share some insights from whatever that I've been researching in the recent times. The limited time, whatever little that I could do, I've just actually communicated. Right. Thank you, and I'll be happy to answer if at all you have any questions.
Outstanding presentation, Mohamed. Thank you. Thank you. I think
sir.
it is a real good this thing. See, normally we always try to use ChatGPT in a major way in any of the initial this thing. But I think you also showed very nicely the new like DALI-E and the other buzzword. These are separate one or what? Or it can be added along with the existing one?
No, of course they are from the same company, but it's a different product. DALI is a different product of OpenAI.
Oh, okay. That's and I think by going through this, I think the skill set of people will go up. They have to use their skill sets more, and especially when you're talking about creating content and the generative idea and build. I think thinking power will go up. So the analytical portion of the people's mind should go up. I think that's the way. I think the skills, the competence level changes, and the mundane work goes away. I think so. However, there is a lot of opportunities for many companies to take it for marketing. Many areas is available. I think a lot of good points. I think the time is too short. I think we need to have probably a longer duration practical example workshop, which will help in our people. Thank you very much, Mohamed, on this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Rupaji, can we close down?
Yes, sir. We have enabled the audio and video. If at all, we can take 1 or 2 questions. Hope this is okay with you, Professor.
Yeah, please.
Sure.
I would request the participants to ask any query if you have.
Yeah, I see one question in the chat window talking
Yes,
about fear that there'll be loss of jobs. So people, they're asking for my view. As I tell you, that's a debatable topic, and I said currently not in the scope of this presentation. But only thing that I would like to say is AI has been developed to probably make humans more intelligent. But if it is just making machines more intelligent, and if you're not able to utilize it, of course, actually we'll become irrelevant, right? So that way, like I'm sure you have been seeing this in most places, that AI will not replace you, but people with better skills of AI can definitely replace you. That is what the market leaders are saying.
Exactly. Correct. Yeah.
So thank you very much, Professor Minhaj, for a wonderful and exhaustive presentation. And we would look forward to have many more extended sessions on the subject too. So thank you once again, sir, for addressing at our session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Parshuraman, sir, for facilitating and structuring this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rupa. Thanks very much.